to show you the benefits of a power wrapper. It can make things a lot easier, make a lot more time efficient as far as building your rods quicker. Some say it's a lot easier. I prefer to build with a power wrapper, but they are a little bit more expensive. But the neat thing about them is they last forever. I think they're around $260, $270. You get a wrapping motor, which is controlled by a foot pedal, much like a sewing machine. And when you push it, your rod rotates, so both hands are free to work with the thread. And once you're done with all your thread wraps, all you do is take this little belt, push it off the wrapping motor, switch over to your drawing motor, and you'll see the rod. It goes into a nice, slow, steady rotation. But just want to show you the quick features real quick as we wrap this next guide. We're going to take our thread, tape it to our blank in the direction we're wrapping, just like that. And then rotate the rod, or the blank rather, to get the thread down where we're going to start our wrap, which is about 3/16 of an inch down from the guide foot. Make a full, perfectly round rotation and cross the thread, which you can see right there. We're going to cross the thread, and that's what's going to lock it on there for us. And we'll just let that thread nice and easily work its way up on there. And if you get a little gap in there or two as you're transitioning up on the guide foot, again, not a problem. Don't worry about it. Go ahead and keep going. When you're coming up the guide foot, your number one priority is just to get up that guide foot without crossing your thread wraps, and don't worry about gaps. Go ahead and trim that tag end. It's not going to do anything for you to keep it there, but it wouldn't hurt you too. I prefer to go ahead and trim it, that way you don't see that tag under your main wrap. So we'll go ahead and just complete our wrap. And again, those little gaps in there I'm not worried about. We'll get them all at the end. Not doing too bad for wrapping this thing backwards. We've got probably 8 to 10 wraps left of thread. So we'll go ahead and insert our quick pull, just like so. Put it under that piece of thread that we're wrapping right now. And just let it hold itself tight against the blank, with that thread doing the work for us. Just like so. And we can straighten it out a little bit for the camera. Okay, so we've got our loop where we want it. Again, our loop, it doesn't have a bead on it. It's in the direction we're wrapping, because remember, we're going to pull that loop back under the thread itself. If you put the bead up there, the bead's not going to make it back under that thread. So just be a little careful there. And again, we're going to wrap over that loop at least 5-6 times when you're starting out. There's no reason not to go more. And again, we're going to stop right about there. If we go any further, again, our thread's going to get too high on our legs of our guide right here, and the epoxy is going to make a mess once we start putting it on there. So we'll stop right there, take our razor blade, cut the tag, and don't worry about cutting this really close here. Give yourself enough tag where it's easy to work with. I prefer to pull it through on the back side of the blank, whichever side you're not going to look at when you're fishing the rod. And I always want to pull it through on the blank side. I don't want to pull it through near a guide foot. If I was to take this thread pull and pull it through right here, there's a gap between that thread coming off the guide foot and the blank, and that gap is going to keep that thread from being tight. It's going to be loose under there, and eventually it's just going to come out. So we're going to go ahead and make sure we've got it to where the thread's going to be pulled through, right against the blank. There's no gap against the guide foot. So just like that, we pull the thread through. Now our wrap is locked on there. We'll go ahead and tighten the wrap up before we trim this tag end. go ahead and take our trim tag end right here, pull it tight against the thread itself. If we see any fuzz, just take our fingernail, and that's it. Our wrap is complete. To load this thread carriage, all I did was take my spool of thread, put it on the post, come through the tensioner. You can see these two metal discs here that have a spring on top of them. And I can adjust the tension by loosening this knob or tightening it. You'll get a feel for how much tension you like. Come around the tensioner, pull that little spring back, go under that way it just keeps nice tension on there, and then back through. I had taped our thread in the direction that we're going to bring our wrap. We're going to bring our thread about 3/16 of an inch, 1/4 inch down from our foot, and we're going to cross it just like that. See that cross? The cross is again how we lock the thread down, no knots. So we're going to do at least 5 or 6 wraps on that. Tighten this wrap up a little bit, pull our tape off, use our razor blade, just start our wrap again, keep going. You can see how nice it is to have that power wrapper, it just goes. So we just put our loop under this thread, lay that KB quick pull just like so. You can see it's just sitting right there. Again, the loop with no bead is facing the direction we're going to wrap. So we'll go ahead and wrap those. That's more than enough wraps. Again, the tensioner keeps everything nice and tight. You gotta love it. So we'll just pull some of our thread off, cut it, keeping it taut. Take the thread, insert it into the loop, keeping it taut the whole time. Pull, a quick pull, back up under the thread, again making sure we're not in a gap by the guide foot. Just pull the thread nice and easy back under itself, and that wrap is not going anywhere. So I'm going to take my thread, pull it back, take my razor blade, insert it right in that gap, cut the thread's out of there, close that gap up, and now I have no tag end showing whatsoever. Applied a little bit of pressure against the wrap, go back and forth. Now you can see all those gaps are closed. It's a nice tight wrap. So now we'll wrap our trim band and move on to the next guide. Once again, tape the thread in the direction we're going to wrap, and since we're going to make the trim band against this wrap, bring the thread back to where we're going to start our wrap, which is seated up against this other main wrap, and then come around, make a full revolution, and the thread's going to cross itself. The thread's going to cross right there, just like on all our other wraps. Go ahead and put the quick pull in there. Once you get one wrap over it, it's going to stay by itself. So then we're just going to go ahead and complete our trim band. Make sure we've got at least 5 wraps on both our starting tag and our quick pull here. It's kind of difficult here trying to show you from a different angle. Again, keeping pressure down and back, and those small gaps in there we'll be able to deal with once we're done. So now we've got at least 6-7 wraps on there. We could have done less, but for the sake of the video. So we're going to keep tension on our thread here. And we're just going to take our tag in, put it through the loop. Again, we use the loop without a bead so that when we pull it, just like this, the loop pulls under there and the rest of the tag comes with it. Just like that. So we'll take our fingernail. So now that that's tightened up, just like that. Okay, so now we've got another trim wrap done. You can see the power wrapper let me to have both hands free to work with the thread. I was able to push the pedal with my foot to rotate the rod, and it just allows me to focus on my wrap. The wrapper is extremely versatile. You know, I turn down my cork, my phone grips. I do everything right here on this one tool. So I use it as a lathe and a rod wrapper, as well as a hand wrapper. So it's a great tool. Alright, now we've got these two wrapped. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the rest of them. We'll wrap our custom decal and epoxy our thread, and our rod will be good to go.